Pam, do we have recording in the back? Yes. All right. It is Tuesday, February 4th at 8:30 a.m. It is my pleasure and honor to call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome fellow commissioners, staff, guests in the audience. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Tuesday morning to come here. With that, I will open up to public comment. Is there any public that would like to address the Finance and Physical Resources Committee this morning? Seeing none, I will close public comment, and that will move us to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Anything have to be pulled? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item 3 from the Health Department. Wayman?
Yes, this is a request to the Board of Commissioners to accept and appropriate $52,300 from the City of Grand Rapids to the 2019-20 Health Fund budget. The City of Grand Rapids has made a total of $238,300 available to the Health Department through its Lead Hazard Community Development Grant to identify lead-based paint hazards and reduce elevated blood levels in young children. Of this amount, $185,900 was appropriated to the 2019-20 Health Fund budget as a part of the annual budgeting process. At this time, the City of Grand Rapids has made an additional $52,300 available to add 0.5 FTE outreach worker position, including related expenses. The outreach worker position will assist property owners with the application process, generate awareness of lead issues primarily in the healthcare community, and coordinate blood level testing of children. The outreach the cost of salary and benefits for the 0.5 FTE outreach worker position is $23,800. In addition, the 0.05 FTE of an existing public health program supervisor will be charged to the grant for supervision. Total costs for the supervisor position are $5,400. Travel, supplies, water testing, and overhead costs are $23,100. The grant period is October 1, 2019 to September 30, 2020. If funding is eliminated or decreased, the position will be eliminated unless continuation funding is approved pursuant to the fiscal policy on grants, contracts, and donations. Corporate Counsel will review and approve all documents as to form prior to signature. The Legislative and Human Resources Committee approved the addition of a 0.5 FTE outreach worker at its January 28th, 2020 meeting.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion? Commissioner Bukowski.
Well, thank you, Chair. My question's not necessarily directly related to this action item, which sounds like a good thing to do. And you know, again, we have that larger lead task force and its recommendations. And even before the task force, we were doing a lot on lead. So my question is there somewhere a one-pager on this is what we're doing for lead and here's how this fits in? Because again, we get these different things coming in and would love
Yeah.
to see how all the parts and pieces fit together.
Sure.
Because people ask us.
Sure, a few weeks or months ago, we provided an update to the Executive Committee of the Board of Commissioners. I'm sure that can be expounded upon, added to ensure, and it was
Brevity.
Yeah, the brevity.
Brevity.
Brevity was there as well.
Good.
One pager, I think Adam London can assure you that he can provide something like that. Adam's here. You want to talk about what you can do with that, Adam?
Absolutely. Good morning. Thank you for the question. Yes, we can certainly create a one-pager. It's been a very evolving situation. We've added a lot in the last couple of years to our lead program, which has been around for 20 plus years with case management. We've added quite a lot of resources to that in terms of environmental investigation and support. And this is one additional way that we're going to add to that program. So it's growing, but I can certainly provide a brief summary. It's going to continue to grow as we build on partnerships. In fact, we have a meeting with the City of Grand Rapids later this week to talk about how do we continue to build on the program to advance the goals that this board expressed through the lead task force, through the CHAC work group that Commissioner Breevy chaired, and through the lead-free kids Grand Rapids project the city has had in place for a couple of years now. So I can certainly provide a one-page summary.
Go ahead.
What if it's one page and a half? Is that okay?
I'll stop reading at the bottom of page one, but that's fine. But in all seriousness, so our ultimate goal to take care of lead as a community, this moves in that direction, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Wooden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe you spoke about this in legislative. Could you speak to a little bit on in terms of identifying a future candidate, things that you will value in that process, and will that include both cultural competency as well as existing connections to within the community, especially those communities most affected by lead, and even lived experience within this lead health crisis?
Yes, and thank you for that question, Commissioner Wooden. This is a community outreach worker position, and as such, its qualification is a high school education. But what we really look for when we recruit for these positions are finding people from within the community, especially from the communities where the greatest effect has been seen in the past. And with lead, it's our inner city, but it's also our lower income strata throughout the community. And so we're going to really try to recruit people from the community who know the challenges, and if there are people who have experienced in their family lead poisoning, that would certainly be something that would help them to understand, to communicate, and to work with other families to encourage them to use the assets and the resources that are available to them. So yeah, we're going to really look to the community to find a person for this role.
That's great, thank you.
Hey, anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Breve.
Thank you, Chair. I feel this grant is important. It's been something we've had the last few years, and I think it's just like one more thing that moves us in the right direction of removing lead from our community. So, you know, it may not be a large amount, but it definitely is something, and it will do what we need it to do to help improve the lives of kids in our community.
Hey, anyone else? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item 4 from Kent County Community Action. Wayman?
Yes, this is a request to the board to appropriate $48,800 in unrestricted funds received from Area Community Service Employment and Training Council asset to the 2020 Special Project Fund. Kent County Community Action has received an additional $48,890 in unrestricted funds from asset for use on energy and food assistance. These unrestricted funds were designated to Kent County Community Action over the years while they were a subset of asset. These funds will be used when the client cannot afford a necessity such as dental care, glasses, etc., and there are no other community resources identified that can meet the need.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion? Yes, Commissioner Bukowski.
Trying to be polite and let somebody else go first. Is this like one-time funding, that asset? It says, it kind of alludes to they've collected it over the years and discovered they had it, and
Right, it came with us with the transition.
Okay.
And so it is, it's a pot of funds that we had over the 40 years that were unrestricted, that we did not spend when we were with Asset.
so appropriating this now, then we're kind of, to say we're done with it? Or, I mean, is this a pot that will kind of refill, and every year will there be a small appropriation, or?
Well, I'm hoping that we'll have other opportunities to put funding in the, into this. We're calling it our Compassionate Care Fund. We currently are working with consumers. They're giving us some money, and it will go into this pot also. But it's for, you know, doing things that we've done in the past or that we're doing right now. And so it'll be a collective fund.
All right.
It doesn't negate the asset wanting to provide these
Correct.
additional dollars, but at this point, you're saying you're zeroing out the account from asset? Is that what's happening here?
Yes, once this is appropriated, we're,
Yep.
this is the last thing we have to do.
All right.
Yeah.
The total NIT, page 3, that acronym WX?
Weatherization.
Okay, thank you.
I had the same question, and I thought that that was the answer, too.
If you had to, type that every day?
Yeah,
you'd
yes.
put
WX,
WX, yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Well, help me, please, remember.
Okay, anyone else? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item number 5 from the Parks Department. Wayman.
Yes, this is a request of the Board of Commissioners to purchase approximately .9 acres to expand the Chief Hazy Cloud Park and to authorize the board chair designee to sign all necessary documents. The project agreement between Kent County and the Michigan Department of Natural Resources to acquire a single parcel totaling .9 acres of land adjacent to Chief Hazy Cloud Park was approved as a part of the plan to expand Chief Hazy Cloud Park. Recently, the terms and closing estimates for the .9 acres were finalized with the purchase price identified as $230,000 plus estimated closing costs of $3,400. Purchase of this land is consistent with the goals of the 2019-2023 Kent County Parks, Trails, and Natural Areas Master Plan. Corporate Council will review and approve the required documents as to form.
Thank you, Wayman. Is there a motion to approve? Okay, moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion, and we'll start with Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We've been at this park for a while, but I'm looking for 1 acre. I'm seeing $230,000, and
It's an important piece.
I'm telling you, the Irish is kind of getting up here. Is this something that was actually an appraisal process, and how's that gonna, we have a future expansion here, and is that gonna affect our future endeavors as trying to keep, appropriate this, or,
So let me help you out.
well, I'm really having,
Yeah, I understand. I think a lot of us were. So it went through the DNR process, which included appraisals. So we did do that, and it appraised at this price because there's a house on this piece of property. And so when you look at the appraisal for a piece of property in Ada with a house on .9 acres of land, there's quite a bit of value as a house. Even though we plan to raise the house, tear it down, and have it become part of the park property, the DNR appraisal process, when you are looking at an appraisal for that property. The question related to will it impact the acquisition in progress? No, because there isn't any houses on that land at all, and it's primarily in a floodplain. This is highland right there at that 0.9 acres. So we went through a long process with the state, the DNR, the landowner to get this resolved, figured out, and because it did look a little high to us too, but that's the reason why, and we went through the Q&A with DNR and the appraisers.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is there any DNR money going towards this purchase, or?
70% of it.
70%.
Of it's DNR money.
So, with this house, they're saying it's worth $233,000, less than an acre. Yeah, it's just still a lot of money for me, but I'm not in tune with the market. Monica, can you help me out here? Okay.
Is it a nice house, Matthew?
Turn your mic on.
Is it a nice house?
I wouldn't call it it's an average house.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Morgan, you're good? All right, Commissioner Antor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. He answered my question, Matthew answered my question. That was, I had sticker shock on steroids when I saw that, because, looking for land these days, $3,000 or $4,000 an acre is.
That location isn't near the river?
Well, yeah, I mean, if the property's unique because it's on a county park right now. It's the one house that has access to the river. You walk through the parkland, if you will, and it's on high ground in an area where there's a lot of floodplain, and it's a house in Ada for that amount of money.
Okay, Commissioner Brevi?
Thank you, Chair. In this situation, you mentioned raising the house, and you said it's, an average quality. One thing the DPW has done in the past is if they've acquired property and homes have been on it, they've been able to have them moved and sold. Is that something that the
I
department
wouldn't say
considered?
this house is of that quality. the plan is to do the deconstruction with a local nonprofit. I've talked to Al and the facilities and how that works, and usually we are able, when we buy houses like at Fuller campus or other places around there, that we get organizations to come in and save and what they can, and then raise the house. So windows, if there's unique wood or anything like that. And in this case, we'll probably at the Parks Department see if there's anything unique to it, because one of the original landowners owned the house back in the day, to see if there's anything that we'll be able to salvage for use in park development.
Yes, Commissioner Antor.
Sorry, second bite at the apple here. Just optically, this looks funny because of the fact that we're paying all that money and then we're gonna destroy a house. I think if people are aware of this, we're gonna get pushback, whether warranted or not, because we're spending, over $250,000 basically for a house, really. I mean, the one, 9/10 of an acre, what does that do for you? And then you knock the house down, so I hope this is a real critical piece. It's gonna look funny to have them explain this, and,
The longevity, the long-term equation for this property, however, is that it will be adjacent to the property that we purchased forever for Chief Hazy Cloud. So that property value is going to continue to climb. And to have it sitting in the way of what we want to do for longevity for all citizens of the county, getting it at this time, at this price, is, I think, a well-thought-out, good decision for the future benefit of the citizenry of the county. So, yeah, the price is a little high, but in Ada, properties values are a little high, and that it's in a perfect location. If somebody wanted to buy that property and build up on it, it'd be double the price if they were to build it out.
right, and I don't dispute that at all. I just think we need to be prepared for some pushback, be able to explain it as you just have. So, that's it. Thank you.
Well, and I'll just add, if you look at the map, in the packet, that pending acquisition piece, this yellow triangle, it sure seems to make sense for where we have it now with the red and where we're going with the green, that you wouldn't necessarily want the scenario where that is sold, another homeowner comes in, builds a McMansion, and here you have park, and one great big McMansion there, which is happening pretty regularly. So,
Price is going to go up.
and then it gets that much more expensive if, down the road we get a chance to grab it. So this would make this whole park completely continuous.
Commissioners, adjacent to the green, to the northwest, the DNR has approved, we're working on a project agreement. The DNR has approved us to purchase that property too. So this will then give us miles on access on the Grand River, and this is the one parcel where there's a house. The rest is undeveloped land.
Yes, Commissioner Bukowski.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, the short question, did you say there's an easement from this property to the river? Or
No,
that
I
there's
was
just a-
suggesting that it's a county park, so you can
Oh,
walk
okay.
to it, to the river.
All right. Yeah, just definitely to follow up on what Commissioner Breivy was saying, that the good and the bad of it is we do purchase property throughout various departments and entities. Again, as Commissioner Breivy said, we're buying stuff out by the South Kent landfill, and you buy a big piece and there's all the little bites in it. We did that, and we're doing it at Millennium Park. There's still, 2 or 3 homes that are in the footprint of Millennium Park. And the price keeps going up. We choose as a commission not to go through formal condemnation and purchase them today. We choose to work with the owners when they're ready to sell, they know we want to buy and all that good stuff. So, the pushback would be, we could just buy this stuff and go for it, but we choose not to. We choose to, again, work with owners, and we're doing it all the time. Not all the time, we're doing it with some regularity. So again, I think this is in the normal course of business. I, like Commissioner Morgan and Commissioner Antor, read this, but I read it on my phone, so I wasn't able to look on that map and say, oh, there looks to be a structure there, which I saw this morning. So if we just add a quick bullet point when there's a structure, just to say we're buying, because it says, this land. It's like, just, we're buying the land and the structure, just so it
clear.
keeps our blood pressure down. I'm worried about some of us as we get older. So,
Yes, Commissioner Nantor.
Just to that point, could I respond one more time?
Sure.
To that point of Commissioner Bukowski, is this somehow under eminent domain? We can't force anybody to sell. I understand that, but we don't have any leverage beyond they sign the contract.
I'm not clear on when eminent domain can be exercised and if this property is a property that we could exercise it on for this purpose or not, council?
The process for that, it can be long and drawn out. It has to be a public purpose, and that would start with a discussion and a decision of the commission that this is a public purpose. You get into challenges and litigation when people challenge whether it truly is a public purpose for an inclusion in a surrounding public park. I have every confidence that if you went that route, you would succeed, but it wouldn't necessarily be pretty.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's the other part of it when you do that. Yeah, we try not to.
Commissioner Morgan.
Yeah, just to give some context, years ago when we were looking at Millennium Park, that subject really came up, and I really pushed back on the eminent domain or condemning anybody's property. So I think this is the way to go. It's just a known fact that once the county gets interested in a piece of property, the price is gonna go up. It happened at Millennium Park, it's gonna happen here, but maybe 10, 15, 20 years from now, they're gonna look back and say, this whole acquisition was just a great thing. So that's what I'm banking on. So, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to Commissioner Miscellaneous this morning. What Commissioner Miscellaneous do we have? Commissioner Whitten.
Thank you,
Go
Madam.
ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just very briefly and non sequitur, but I wanted to wish a happy birthday to my father, who is turning 67 today. And many of you met him when he gave invocation in our swearing in last year. And just wish him the best, since this is also he'll be retiring in April. So happy birthday, Dad.
Okay, anyone else? All right, seeing none, we are adjourned. Our next meeting date is February 18th.